So here we go with my awards for the 2022 season. And appropriately or inappropriately, we're going to call them the Yogis. So here we go. Welcome to the Yogis. The first award of the Yogis is titled the It Factor Award. You know the podcast already, the It Factor. You probably listened to it. Well, the whole reason we started this is we want to take the helmet off of the student athlete. We want to dive into what makes them tick and try to define the It Factor. The way I define the It Factor is meeting someone who enters the room, you feel their presence, but they make everyone around them better. And there's a lot of players up for consideration for the It Factor of the Year award. And I'm going to go with the guy who won the Heisman. Caleb Williams truly has an It Factor that anyone can notice. He came in from a different school, and the first thing he decided to do was not go work out, but get to know every single person's name in the facility. Then he allowed his work ethic to take over. And then in games when they needed a big play in a big moment, he showed up. When players went down and they were riddled with injuries, he said, "Come on, my back, I got you." Simply, he has it. And now he is also the reigning Heisman Trophy winner and will be the defending champ heading into the 2023 season. The throw of the year. I went back through them all again. I said, what is the best throw this season? Because there's a lot of sweet ones. For Oregon State fans, you know what I'm talking about. Caleb Williams on a dime to win the game on the right sideline. That's a heck of a throw. Bo Nix, he's made so many special ones this year. But I got to go to a man who I thought should have been in New York City, was on my Heisman ballot. Michael Penix Jr., you win the Yogi Throw of the Year, and you know the throw I'm talking about. Against the Oregon Ducks. The previous drive, you threw an interception at the goal line. You bounced back, no flinch, dropped the throw of the year down that left sideline. Perfect location, beat the safety with the throw. The ball finished on the face mask, and whoo, did it ever finish. A huge play, a big touchdown. The throw of the year, not only, I think, in the Pac-12, but in the entire country.
It's beautiful. I've looked at this for 5 hours now.
The third Yogi is appropriately titled, Why Move Out West? With a question mark. Well, I'll give you a couple reasons why. As someone who did move out west, the weather, the beaches, the fun, the competition, and the opportunity to rewrite your script. I got two winners for this Yogi. It's Bo Nix out of Oregon and Michael Penix Jr. Might also be dubbed the comeback players of the year. They moved out west, and for Bo Nix, it seemed as though a part of the country already wrote him off. And Michael Penix Jr., the question was, could he get through a season? Not only did these two quarterbacks get through a season, they were on a Heisman list throughout the majority of the season because they both played huge in huge games on big stages. I know it didn't end with either one of them in New York City or even in Las Vegas for the title game, but they made a decision to come out west. They probably realized it was a pretty good decision. As I talk to coaches all throughout the conference, every once in a while you ask them, who don't you want to see anymore? Who don't you like preparing for? Because they give you nightmares. And every defensive coordinator throughout the entirety of this season said the same name. We are glad Dorian Thompson-Robinson is gone. So DTR, congratulations on this Yogi. It is the Glad You're Gone award. Now, I love being around you. 5 years, 5-year starter for Chip Kelly. Are you kidding me? The story writes itself, and your growth and your arc as a quarterback is going to land you in the NFL. But for the coaches, well, they're glad they don't have to defend you anymore. So congratulations to you. You're going to allow a couple defensive coordinators to get maybe a little bit better rest the week they play UCLA. Awesome to watch you and really the trio at UCLA, Zach Charbonnet, Jake Bobo, all three of you no longer playing in Westwood after this final bowl game, but we are all wishing you the best of luck, including all of those defensive coordinators. This might be my favorite Yogi of award season. It's most improved on offense and defense. Offensively, I got a tie for most improved offensive player, and I'm going to the position I love most, wideout. First wide receiver, Troy Franklin of Oregon. He went from 18 receptions a year ago to 56. And the way he did it, downfield, on the sideline, tiptoeing, Watch his run blocking. Whenever the Ducks needed a big play in the passing game, Troy Franklin elevated, sometimes literally. The other wide receiver, well, he's part of that Oregon UW rivalry. I'm going with Rome Odunze. The offense totally flips with Kalen DeBoer as his head coach and Ryan Grubb as his offensive coordinator. And you look at his numbers, 70 grabs, over 1,000 yards, an All-American, of course, an all-conference player, and one of the more dominant wideouts, not just in the pack, but in the entire nation. As Nick Aliotti said, man, he's got great hair too. He does everything well.
I don't know if anyone's ever worn that hat better than Rome Odunze wearing that.
Nobody.
Never.
If I had hair, tell you what, if I had hair like that, I'd be making movies.
Congratulations to those two young men on the most improved offensive player. Defensively, I'm going with one. And if you know me or my family, you know my favorite name in the pack. It's Mekhi, but Mekhi Blackman. My youngest son's first name is Mekhi as well. So I love that name. I already have an affinity for Mekhi, but look at what he did since he got to USC a year ago. He immediately not only earned a starting role, but he also became a leader, a catalyst, a tempo setter for this program. And we saw him make plays, 3 interceptions on the season, so many batted balls. And when he was asked to rise up where the defense needed a play, Mekhi Blackman usually found himself around the football. Congratulations, Mekhi. I can remember being a young coach back in the day at USC. And every Wednesday, we would sit in the office and we would watch recruiting highlights and videos. And eventually, after that meeting, offer a litany of players a full athletic and academic scholarship to USC. But what I also learned sitting in that meeting was from the guy I sat next to. I was able to sit next to the head coach at the time, Pete Carroll, and he would say to me very often that when he looked at two talented players who played the same position, he would look over and say, but which one of these two would you pick if you were to pick a team in the park, in the playground? Which one just looks better? Don't worry about all the metrics and all the highlights and all the things that we can dive and overanalyze. Which guy would you pick?
I told you he'd pick me first.
So here we go. My all-baller team, my all-park team. If I had to pick these guys to be on my squad on the playground, this is who I would ride with. So I'm going to give you 12 on offense. Jacob Cowan, Jalen McMillan, Rome Odunze, Jordan Addison, Jake Bobo, and Tetero McMillan. Wide receivers, playmakers, they can do a little bit of everything. Dalton Kincaid, the hoopster of the group, played in over 50 career games in college football. He's on that squad, as is Travis Dye, Damian Martinez, and Jaden Ott being the two freshmen at running back on my all-park team. Zach Charbonnet, and of course, I need a Jack Coletta. Those are my 12 guys I'd take if I was building my offense. Defensively, man, was it hard. These are the guys I would take if I had to. Tuli Tuipulotu, Leatu Latu out of UCLA, Junior Tafuna, because he can move and he can run, he can do a little bit of everything in the interior defensive line. Ron Stone Jr., Braylon Trice, Jeremiah Martin playing the edges. At linebacker, I take Eric Gentry, Dayon Henley, Karene Reed, Noah Sewell. And on the back end, Cole Bishop, Clark Phillips, Alex Austin, Christian Gonzalez, and my man Jaden Grant, because he's just been around for a long time. In his 7th year, just finishing up at Oregon State. So I took 12 on offense, 15 on defense. Yes, those are not the same numbers, but this is my award. I made up a new rule because there's so many talented players that if it was close, I'd want all those guys on my squad.
Do something about it.
And how many times have you sat in your chair and said, I wish I would do that, or I would have done this? Thus, the Yogi, the Armchair Coach Call of the Year. And to me, this one is easy. We are going to Salt Lake City, game on the line. You know the game I'm talking about, USC, Utah. Utah with an epic drive, Cam Rising with an epic touchdown, and Kyle Whittingham with the gutsy Call of the Year that I'd imagine you sitting in your chair. If you're a Utah fan, you're saying, go for 2. I'd go for 2. Well, if you didn't say that, right after Cam Rising scored those 2 points, you probably said, I would have gone for 2. So the gutsy Call of the Year and the Armchair Coach Call of the Year with the Kyle Whittingham going for 2 to beat USC in an incredible game on an amazing night at Rice-Eccles State. And because we saw a lot of incredible incredible, gutsy calls this year, I'm going to give out another award. The Armchair Coach Call of the Year goes to Dan Lanning. Let's go back to Autzen Stadium. Sold out, crazy. College game day is there against the UCLA Bruins. And it is a tight game. We're in the second quarter. It's 70-10. He decides to kick an onside kick that the Ducks get, and all of a sudden they go up 24-10. At half, it's 31-13. Game is over. The tide has turned, and Dan Lanning, gutsy call of the year. Oh my God. If you're an Oregon fan, you were cheering, you were screaming, you were excited, and you probably didn't see it coming, much like most of us watching that game, which is why Dan Lanning gets the Yogi for the Armchair Coach Call of the Year. About a decade ago, I stumbled into a conversation with some of my football friends, and they said, "How do you feel about football?" And I quickly responded and said, "How do I feel about football? How great is ball?" And all of a sudden, that phrase was birthed into my world. One of my favorite phrases, if you follow me on social media, you see the hashtag How Great Is Ball, and it's really a celebratory exclamation and question mark around this great game that we all love. So, what's my How Great Is Ball moment of the year? Well, this Yogi is pretty easy, and it goes to Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams. Cut to the sideline at Research Stadium in Corvallis, Oregon. USC is not having an incredible night on offense. The crowd is going absolutely off. It's a funky vibe because of the way the stadium is set up with only half of it full. And here's Lincoln Riley on the sideline talking to his future Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, saying, "Hey, just stay with it. Stay with it. Stay positive." And what did he do? He shrugged off a performance that wasn't statistically the best of his career. And he came out in the final drive for USC and delivered one of the top throws in all of college football this season to win the game for USC. And to me, it had me looking at my partner, Ted Robinson, just saying, man, my brother, how great is ball? Because we got to see the dynamics, the little things between coach and quarterback that often get lost amid plays, criticism, touchdowns, etc. And that's why, to me, that moment exemplified that phrase, how great is ball? And when you go to college football games in the Pac-12, well, there's certain vibes that just stand out. So, what is the greatest vibe of the year in Pac-12 football? Well, there's a couple finalists. Of course, USC at Oregon State. It was epic. USC, Utah, part 1 was off the charts. UW going to Oregon and Autzen Stadium with an incredible win for Kalen DeBoer. Wow. But the vibe of the year, if you were there, you know it. It was Las Vegas, Nevada, and the Pac-12 title, because it was sold out, not a seat in the house. Could USC win and find themselves in the college football playoff? Could Utah, for the second straight year, beat a team twice to go back to the Rose Bowl? It had everything. And ultimately, it had Utah winning their second straight Pac-12 title. Kyle Whittingham, congrats. Cam Rising, congrats. It was a gutsy performance. They were able to do something that nobody's done in quite some time as back-to-back conference champs. That game, that moment, that stadium, easily to me, was this year's vibe of the year. And the final Yogi of 2022, as we come full circle, we got to come back to what allows us to even have this award show. It's the games. So what was the game of the year? What do you think about? If you're a UW fan, you probably think about Oregon. If you're an Arizona fan, you probably think about UCLA. If you're UCLA, you might think about Utah. But for me, I go to Utah against USC Part 1. Think about the helmets the Utah Utes were wearing, honoring former teammates that had passed away, and Aaron Lowe and Ty Jordan. Think about the moment of loudness and what that was like in that stadium and the emotion. Think about USC coming into that game, almost running away with it early on with Caleb Williams, the eventual Heisman Trophy winner, putting his team on his back. All game long, there were plays being made. There was drama unfolding. And as the night ended, it ended in the only way that it could. The 2-point conversion to win the game for Utah and Cam Rising eventually would lead them to another Pac-12 title.
Are you not entertained?
And while we have a lot of fun in the Yogis, we're always reminded that no matter what happens in college football, the hype, the excitement, the hirings, the unfortunate firings, the transferring, all the details that are a part of the game that we love, none of it exists without the game. Congratulations to USC and Utah for the final Yogi of 2022, the game of the year. And a reminder to all of us, as we head into the holiday season, that we don't have any of this without the games. And personally, I'm just so thankful to be a small part of it. Thanks for watching the 2022 Yogis.